The Hour was brought to you by KFC, celebrating 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the Integrity Commission has refused to release the findings of a multi-million-dollar international audit it commissioned into the Prime Minister's financial affairs.
And the Commission has also refused to confirm whether it has closed its investigations into Dr. Andrew Holness's statutory declarations.
Daryl Vaz rubbishes claims 100 brand new coasters could be bought with the money used to purchase 110 used school buses from the United States.
1.4 billion to buy these buses, pay inland freight, sea freight to retrofit them, refurbish them, 1 year of spare parts.
Economist says Jamaica's removal from the EU's list of high-risk countries for anti-money laundering will boost investors' confidence.
Only 20% of residential properties across Jamaica are insured.
In news from the rest of the world, Caribbean leaders backed Jamaica's petition to King Charles on reparations.
Judge blocks Trump's birthright order after Supreme Court ruling.
In headline sports, there's a big name withdrawn from Jamaica's team to the NACAC Senior Track and Field Championship.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the World Economic Forum says Jamaica is at the top of the global rankings for educational attainment for women and girls. Gender specialist Carla Moore will join us.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, is your house insured? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, the Insurance Association of Jamaica is sounding an alarm over an increase, or rather an insurance crisis. This as only 20% of Jamaica's residential properties are insured, and of those, an estimated 95% are underinsured. We'll hear from the IAJ's president, Rosemary Henry.
And at 8, it's Jamaican Dads with Dennis Brooks, Garth Williams, Marlon Campbell, and Floyd Green.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. Available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, July 10, 2025.
This Hour is brought to you by KFC, celebrating 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The Integrity Commission has refused to release the findings of a multi-million-dollar international audit it commissioned into the financial affairs of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The anti-corruption body has also refused to confirm whether it has closed its investigations into Dr. Holness's statutory declarations. The Commission has claimed the matters are now sub judice, and the Integrity Commission Act bars it from responding. It was responding to a series of questions and an access to information request submitted by Nationwide News. Ricardo Brooks has the details.
In its 2024-2025 annual report at page 71, Appendix 1, the Integrity Commission notes that it has closed an investigation into Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The report says the investigation began in April 2023 and was closed in July of 2024. The probe is said to have lasted 338 days. No specificity was provided as to what the matter related to. So far as our news center could confirm, there is no other investigation in the public domain related to Prime Minister Andrew Holness except the probe launched into his declarations. In that probe, the Commission's Director of Investigation, Kevon Stevenson, recommended that an assessment be done as to whether Holness had broken the law by making false statements in a statutory declaration. The Commission's Director of Corruption Prosecution, Keisha Prince Kamika, declined to prosecute Holness, finding he had no criminal case to answer. Prince Kamika has since left the Commission after her contract was not renewed under controversial circumstances. Following widespread public speculation on the reference in the Commission's annual report, Nationwide News asked the Integrity Commission for clarity. On June 30, 2025, we wrote to the anti-corruption body posing a series of questions. Among them, we asked the Commission to clarify whether the referenced investigation related to the Prime Minister's statutory declarations, the same matter that had been referred to the Financial Investigation Division FID for further probing. We also asked if the cited investigation is in fact related to the statutory declarations, and if the Integrity Commission considers the investigation closed, why has it refused to certify the Prime Minister's declarations? Our news center also specifically asked the Commission's chairman, retired Justice Carol Lawrence Beswick, why the findings of the international audit into Holness's affairs have not been made public. We asked Justice Lawrence Beswick whether she believed the people of Jamaica have a right to know the audit's findings ahead of a general election. We further asked the Commission's chairman whether she would commit to making the findings public. We also asked the chairman how Jamaicans should view the work of the Commission, considering the billions in funding it receives, a closed investigation, and no certification of the Prime Minister's declarations. Our news center also submitted 2 requests under the Access to Information Act. Firstly, we requested all documents and reports submitted and prepared by all auditors engaged by the Commission to review the finances of Dr. Andrew Holness. We also requested all documents or minutes related to meetings of the Commission's Information and Complaints Committee for the period 2021 to 2024, at which the statutory declarations of Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Opposition Leader Mark Golding were discussed and decisions taken on certification or non-certification. On July 10, 2025, the Commission responded. In a terse 2-paragraph response, the Commissioners and Directors declined to answer all the questions and refused to honor the access to information requests. According to the Commission, the investigation into Dr. Andrew Holness is before the courts, and therefore, the Commission cannot discuss the matter. The anti-corruption body also refused to provide the requested documents related to the international audit's findings. The Commission says while it acknowledges the provisions of the Access to Information Act, it is constrained by Section 56 of the Integrity Commission Act. That section imposes a requirement of confidentiality regarding information, documents, statutory declarations, and government contracts. It is unclear whether that provision of the Act continues to govern a matter that is considered closed and a report submitted and tabled in Parliament. Along with Section 53 of the Act, Section 56 is considered a gag clause. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has publicly stated that he is being unfairly targeted by the Commission. He has challenged several key findings in court. That matter will be heard in October. Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
Transport Minister Darrell Vaz is rubbishing claims the government could have bought 100 brand new coasters for the money he used to procure 110 used buses from the United States. Mahiri Stewart has that story.
Nationwide News has seen the import licenses for 42 of the 110 buses being used for the government's rural school transportation program set to be launched in September. According to the documents, the cost of the buses being purchased by the ministry range from as high as $20,000 to as low as just under $10,000. In a statement on Wednesday, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz said part of the PNP's attack on the program involved the use of bloggers to raise doubt about the cost of the buses. Several bloggers have been posting documents purporting to show that the government could have bought brand new coaster buses for the $1.4 billion spent instead of the 110 buses to be procured for the program. One such document is an invoice for a 2026 Toyota coaster bus. The discounted price on the pro forma invoice comes up to 12.4 million Jamaican dollars. But Minister Vaz says not only is the math wrong, but the premise of the calculation is also wrong. According to Minister Vaz, the $1.4 billion to be spent involves way more than just the cost of procuring the individual buses from the U.S.
$1.4 billion is the cost to buy these buses, pay inland freight, sea freight to get them to Jamaica, to retrofit them with the doors, refurbish them where needed, 1 year of spare parts, 1 year of a maintenance contract with the supplier to service the buses as was being done through the Department of Transport in the United States of America. It will also have the technology that is going to be required to make sure that the children are safe and that we can see them from the Ministry of Education and also the parents.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, the PSOJ, Metri Siaga, is welcoming news that Jamaica has been delisted as a high-risk jurisdiction for money laundering and financing terrorism by the EU. Jamaica had been on the list since October 2020.
The removal of Jamaica from the list of countries that are on the high-risk list for money laundering is a very positive move in the right direction for Jamaica and will bode well for investments of many different types in our country. So I congratulate the government on putting the things in place to make that happen and look forward to us getting even more investments now based on what has happened.
The European Commission's updated list of jurisdictions presenting strategic deficiencies in national anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism regimes was published on Tuesday. The decision to remove Jamaica marks a key milestone as the country seeks to position itself as a stable and reliable partner in the global financial system. It comes after Jamaica was removed from the Financial Action Task Force's grey list last year. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and the Foreign Affairs Minister, Kamina Johnson-Smith, have both expressed delight at the move by the EU. Mr. Siaga says prior to this updated list, foreign investors were hesitant to do business in Jamaica.
What it did was it created almost a black cloud over Jamaica. Many companies in specific industries like gaming industries and others that are highly regulated, banking, insurance, they look very closely at the way the international community views your country, and they use that as one of the indicators as to whether to invest in the country or not. Now that that's lifted, it will certainly free up more investment to come into our country.
Metri Siaga, the president of the PSOJ.
Meanwhile, economist Keenan Faulkner says the recent removal of Jamaica from the European Union's list of high-risk countries as it relates to anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism signals a shift for investor confidence.
I think it's just a natural follow-on from the removal from the FATF list last year. So I think the EU Parliament would have been looking at that situation and recognizing that Jamaica has been engaging in many reforms and it is now seen as relatively safer for investment relative to the period before it was taken off the list. So perception of risk really influences investment decisions globally. And when you are flagged by these international organizations for deficiencies in your AML, CFT network, your framework, then it does not inspire confidence. So just the mere act of removal from the grey list from FATF last year, from this high-risk list of countries this year, it acts as a signal to international investors that Jamaica, your money will be safer here.
Mr. Faulkner told Nationwide this morning that the new development will allow transaction processes to become less tedious.
In practical terms, it just really means that you can reevaluate business relationships, but it also means that your due diligence can be simplified or can be standardized. So typically there are 3 levels of due diligence. You have simplified due diligence, standard due diligence, and your enhanced due diligence. So we don't need to seriously apply enhanced due diligence to certain transactions. Like people are sending remittances. You don't need to provide certain kinds of information that will hold up the transaction, or it seems onerous to comply with certain requirements. So in practical terms, that has benefits for facilitating business activity, particularly across borders.
Keenan Faulkner, economist.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Continuing the news, Jamaica's shipping capacity is set to experience a major boost with the expansion of the Westland Port at the Kingston Freeport Terminal in Kingston. The project aims to expand cargo capacity, reduce vessel wait times, attract larger vessels, and strengthen Jamaica's position as a key player in regional and global trade. Speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony today, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the expansion will be done in 2 phases.
The Westland project will add essential acreage to KFTL, allowing for expanded cargo storage with new berth facilities and the introduction of a modern automated gate system for domestic cargo. The first phase, covering 15 hectares at a cost of $80 million, will focus on strengthening soil conditions, eliminating ponding and flooding, upgrading security, and setting the stage for seamless high-volume operations. The second phase will follow without delay upon the completion of the first.
Dr. Holness, who is also the Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation, says investments in the Kingston Freeport Terminal have significantly improved the economy. He says the investments have led to the establishment of hundreds of job opportunities.
These investments have paid off. The KFTL's cargo volumes have grown by 58% since 2016. Berth moves and crane moves exceed global performance benchmarks. The company maintains a preventative maintenance compliance rate of over 97%. And importantly, the company's workforce has grown by more than 50%, creating 500 new high-quality, high-paying Jamaican jobs.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness.
Only 20% of residential properties across Jamaica are insured. The alarming figure was disclosed on Thursday by the Insurance Association of Jamaica, IAJ. Dana Davey reports.
A silent crisis in plain sight. That's how President of the IAJ, Rosemary Henry, described the issue of underinsured residential properties in Jamaica. In a media release on Thursday, the IAJ says of the 20% of residential properties insured, 95% are inadequately covered. The association noted that the large gap has left thousands of families and businesses exposed to financial devastation. As such, the IAJ says it has launched a public education campaign targeting Jamaican property owners. The initiative, titled Real Value, Real Coverage, is aimed at sensitizing homeowners to updating their insurance policies for their properties. According to the IAJ, local property owners must reassess their insurance coverage as the 2025 hurricane season progresses. Ms. Henry says on a yearly basis, policyholders insure their homes based on outdated values. She noted that when a hurricane strikes, the same policyholders are unable to carry out repairs as the insurance payout is minimal. She added that stories of underinsurance are not uncommon in communities from St. Catherine to Montego Bay. The IAJ president says many Jamaicans believe that once a property is insured, it remains protected indefinitely. However, she countered that with inflation, material costs, and property values rising, the assumption is dangerously flawed. Ms. Henry is calling on homeowners to take the critical steps needed to keep their properties insured. These include checking their policy details, receiving a professional valuation, and updating their coverage. Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
Caribbean leaders have backed Jamaica's petition to King Charles on reparations as the region prepares to step up its pursuit of reparative justice for slavery. This was disclosed by the Prime Minister at the recently closed CARICOM summit. Dr. Holness says Jamaica secured broad support from the Caribbean region for its petition to the King. The petition is asking King Charles to use his authority to request legal advice from the Judicial Committee of the London-based Privy Council. The advice would determine whether the forced transport of Africans to Jamaica was lawful and constituted a crime against humanity. It would also determine whether Britain was obligated to provide a remedy to Jamaica for slavery and its enduring consequences. Other leaders reiterated their commitment to the fight for reparations. They include the Prime Ministers of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Antigua and Barbuda, and the Premier of the British Virgin Islands.
A U.S. judge has once again blocked President Donald Trump from ending birthright citizenship for some U.S. residents. The New Hampshire judge approved a class action lawsuit against Trump's executive order on Thursday. The lawsuit was brought by the American Civil Liberties Union on behalf of immigrant parents and their infants. The judge's ruling temporarily stops the president's order from taking effect. The U.S. Constitution guarantees citizenship to all born on U.S. soil, but Trump has sought to revoke that right for babies born to undocumented immigrants and foreign visitors as part of his crackdown on immigration. The class action lawsuit seeks to challenge the order as harmful and unconstitutional. According to the judge, the lawsuit can proceed on behalf of the babies who would be affected by the restrictions. Trump's administration has been given 7 days to appeal.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the Integrity Commission has refused to release the findings of a multi-million-dollar international audit it commissioned into the Prime Minister's financial affairs.
And the Commission has also refused to confirm whether it has closed its investigations into Dr. Andrew Holness's statutory declarations.
Darrell Vaz has rubbished claims 100 coaster buses could be bought with the money used to purchase 110 used school buses from the United States.
Only 20% of residential properties across Jamaica are insured.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
Listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next. The headlines at 6.
Tired of waiting for your ride? Want safety and peace of mind on every journey? Amber On Time is here! With verified drivers, real-time vehicle tracking, and panic button with armed security response, your safety is our priority. Reliable service, easy booking, premium experience, it's all just a tap away. Download Amber On Time today.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger licking.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Our Jamaican family, hallelujah! At 40 East Street, Old Harbour, this Sunday, July 13, 6 p.m. for the annual JLP Area Council 2 Gospel Concert and Candidate Presentation, hosted by Area Council 2 Chairman MP Clifford Everell Warmington. Hear from Party Chairman Bobby Montague, Deputy Leader James Robertson and others. Main address comes from Prime Minister and Party Leader Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. Testimony, gospel bells, how they ring. The mission to prosper Jamaica continues, therefore, my beloved brothers and sisters. Be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. Tambourine, JLP Gospel Concert, this Sunday, 6 p.m., Old Harbour, and you are invited. We choose Jamaica!
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Paris Olympic 100 meters finalist Tia Clayton has been pulled from Jamaica's team to the NACAC Senior Track and Field Championships in the Bahamas, August 15 to 17. Clayton was amongst a 40-strong Jamaican contingent announced on Monday for the three-day championships. She was listed for the women's 100 meters, where there was an opportunity for her to qualify for the World Championships in Japan as the area champion. However, according to our source, there was a major pushback from some quarters against her selection on the team on the basis that others with the World Championship qualifying standards finished ahead of her at the National Championship. Clayton was unable to complete the race after pulling up injured midway. Jodine Williams from Sprintec was fourth in 11.02 seconds, while Janelle Smith from MVP was fifth in 11.06. Smith, who was already in the team to run the 4x100 meters relay, will now take the place of Clayton in the 100 meters in the Bahamas, where she will have a shot at qualifying for the World Championships along with Jodine Williams. The top three finishers in the men's 100 meters at the J3's National Championships have been confirmed to run on Jamaica's men's 4x100 meters relay team at the London Diamond League next Saturday. National champion Kishane Thompson, Oblique Seville and Akeem Blake are part of a 6-member team that will assemble in the British capital as Jamaica looks to attain the qualifying standards for the World Championships in Tokyo, Japan. Seville and Kadrian Golson are leaving Jamaica early next week to join Blake, Thompson and Rohan Watson, who are already in Italy for a few days of relay practice before flying over to London for the Diamond League. The men's 100 meters is on the Diamond League schedule, but Thompson will be in London only to run the relay. Jamaica is currently the 18th ranked team in the world by time and must run faster than the 37.87 seconds of the Netherlands, who are in 15th, or the 38.20 seconds by the 16th place Nigeria. Last Saturday, a team of Adrian Carr, Goldson, Adrian Carr, Buwaji, and crewmate and O'Dane McPherson failed to achieve the time after winning the event at the Barbados Grand Prix in 38.46 seconds. Should the team fail to get the time, they will have another opportunity, not necessarily the same for, at the NACAC Senior Championships in the Bahamas, August 15 to 17. Jamaican West Indies batsman Brandon King says he's looking forward to taking the pitch at the historic day-night test against Australia at Sabina Park when the third and final test bowls off on Saturday. King top scored for the West Indies in their defeat in the second test in Grenada, and he's now determined to put on a show in front of his home crowd.
Obviously, it's a great feeling, to play at home. I've played a few white ball games at home before, and it felt incredible. So, this being the first, I think, day-night test match in Sabina, it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. It's a challenge, but an exciting challenge. So, it's something I'm looking forward to. Any arena that you're in, you want to compete against the best and see where you stand. So, I'm looking forward to it. They've played the most pink ball games, so they're very experienced. So, it will be a good challenge.
The Aussies lead the series 2-0, and King is calling for consistency if they are to avoid a sweep.
Just a little bit consistency throughout the test match. Obviously, if you look at the last two games, we've been competing with them up to a certain point, and then, kind of fall away a little bit. But, the reality is we're playing against the number one team in the world. So for us to win or to challenge for a win, we need to be consistent in all aspects of the game right through till the end. So we're just looking to improve on those little 1%ers to see if we can carry it through this time.
West Indies opener, Brandon King. Finally, in sports at this time, Jamaica's fixture against the Leeward Islands was abandoned without a ball being bowled due to rain in the ongoing Cricket West Indies Regional Under-19 Women's Tournament at the National Cricket Centre at Couva in Trinidad. Meanwhile, the match between Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados ended in a no result after play was stopped due to rain, with Trinidad and Tobago on 25 for 2 after 6 overs. However, Guyana registered a 4-wicket victory over the Windward Islands with 81 deliveries to spare. Batting first, the Windward Islands were bundled out for 72 inside 20 overs. Amaya Gilbert, 14, and Devona Tyson, 13, were the only players into double figures. Tia Isaacs took 4 wickets, while Trisha Hardat and Danielle Mann took 2 apiece, chasing 73 to win. Guyana reached the target inside 22 overs. Crystal Durant made 19 and Isaac made 16 not out. Final scores: the Windward Islands 72 and Guyana 73 for 6. And that will do it for sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Cubby's Baby Wipes is ideal for your baby's delicate skin, infused with vitamin E and aloe vera, and available for home or on the go. The time by Cubby's Baby Wipes is
5:30.
Bosco Bell St. Mary is your newest gateway to Miami. Daily flights are available for your convenience. The temperature brought to you by the Airport Authority of Jamaica is
30 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's the same in the western city, Montego Bay.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Nago Head St. Catherine, Greenleaf Medical and Diagnostics has opened its door at 55 Newland Road to assist you with all your medical needs. Visit and get the services of a general practitioner, pediatrician, gynecologist, and surgeon. They also do all tests: ultrasound, pap smear, ECG, and diagnostic testing. Open Mondays to Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Telephone 876-740-1224. Greenleaf Medical and Diagnostics, your medical partner in Nago Head.
I use the Radar app to help source my seeds and also my seedlings.
Me run my farm as a business, so I use the app for weather forecast and crop planning.
When we need me extension officer, I just book and visit on the app. Quick time she reach. We check pest alert every morning. Me now make her mash up my grub.
Real farmers, real support, real easy. Crop Radar and Farm Smarter. Get the mobile app on Android and iOS.
Our Jamaican family, hallelujah! At 40 East Street, Old Harbour, this Sunday, July 13, 6 p.m. for the annual JLP Area Council 2 Gospel Concert and Candidate Presentation, hosted by Area Council 2 Chairman MP Clifford Everell Warmington. Hear from Party Chairman Bobby Montague, Deputy Leader James Robertson, and others. Main address comes from Prime Minister and Party Leader Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. Testimony, gospel bells, how they ring. The mission to prosper Jamaica continues. Therefore, my beloved brothers and sisters, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. Tambourine, JLP Gospel Concert, this Sunday, 6 p.m., Old Harbour, and you are invited. We choose Jamaica!
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Friday, July 11 for the Pedro Plains Irrigation Expansion Project in St. Elizabeth.
Big news for farmers. The government is investing a massive $23.6 billion in the Pedro Plains Irrigation Expansion Project in St. Elizabeth. Starting July 2025, this initiative will channel water from Black River to over 6,000 farmers, boosting productivity and climate resilience. You don't want to miss this. So tune in to Cliff Views Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Friday, July 11. It's the Pedro Plains Irrigation Expansion Project. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the National Irrigation Commission.
This is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Labor rights, come out in your numbers for the Southeast St. Andrew Workers' Appreciation Ceremony with your standard bearer Kevin Frith this Sunday, July 13 at Curfew Place, 5 p.m. Come hear from champion MPs Delroy Chuck, Fayval Williams, Senators Abka Fitzhenley and Delano Sibright, and the next MP for Southeast St. Andrew, Kevin Frith and others. Main address comes from Deputy Leader West Kingston Boss, the Honorable Desmond McKenzie. That's the Southeast St. Andrew Workers' Appreciation Ceremony this Sunday, Curfew Place, 5 p.m. Look how PMP bad-minded children them boss. But we choose Jamaica. The Jamaica Labour Party delivers for you. Always active, always strong.
That was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multilink. Access every time, everywhere I go. Multilink. 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multilink. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multilink. 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the Cover Story. I'm Ricardo Brooks. My co-host will be Sanjay Lewis. He'll join me shortly. But we're going to start, listeners, with a story. We are reporting at the top of the bulletin. You'd have heard it. The Integrity Commission has refused to release the findings of a multi-million-dollar international audit that it commissioned into the financial affairs of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Similarly, the anti-corruption body is also refusing to confirm whether it has closed its investigations into Dr. Holness's statutory declarations. Now, the reason given by the Commission is that these matters are now sub judice, meaning they're now before the courts, and that responding would potentially violate the Integrity Commission Act. Now, all of this came to a head because, listeners, if you've been reading the 2024-2025 annual report, you will find that at page 71, at Appendix 1, The Integrity Commission, at the very top of a table, notes that it has closed an investigation into Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Now, myself and our parliamentary reporter, Siobhan Campbell, we've been going through the report, and when we saw the reference, we were wondering exactly what investigation was being referenced, because the report does not say what the investigation was about. It only tells you when it was opened, which was April of 2023, and when it was closed, which was July of 2024, and that it lasted for 338 days. Now, out of an abundance of caution, we decided to write to the Commission requesting clarity. And as you would also know, there's been a lot of public interest in the contents of that audit report, which was commissioned, multi-million-dollar report. The findings were submitted to the Integrity Commission. Based on those findings, it said it still couldn't come to a determination regarding illicit enrichment and the Prime Minister's statutory declaration. So it referred the matter to the FID and I believe the TAJ for further probing. Now, we wanted to know, as does the public, what is in that document. What did the auditors, these international auditors, that so much money was spent to contract, what did they tell you? And so we submitted 2 access to information requests, one for the audit findings, and then you would recall that the Information Complaints Committee of the Commission, which I believe is chaired by the Auditor General, that committee has responsibility for reviewing, examining the statutory declarations. So we wanted the minutes of those meetings that it would have had over a 3 or 4 year period to get a sense of what might be the sticking point. You know, why couldn't it make a recommendation for certification or non-certification as it relates to both the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition? I think we submitted that on June 30. Well, this afternoon, the Commission responded to us, 2 paragraphs, very to the point. It would not answer any of the questions. And I believe we submitted about 6 questions and 2 ATI requests, and it wouldn't honor the ATI request either. The Commission is saying it's before the court, it can't answer. Now, what's important about that is I think we can then fairly conclude that it is related to the statutory declarations, that is the matter that has been closed. Because, as you would know, the Prime Minister has taken the Commission to court and is awaiting the hearing of a judicial review claim he has that will be heard in October. The statutory declarations, that matter forms a part of that legal challenge. So if the Commission says it is sub judice, I think it's reasonable to then conclude that, yes, in fact, it has closed its investigation into the statutory declarations. That, of course, raises other questions. Because if it is so, and the investigation is closed, why then was it referred to the FID? And also, why would the Commission have closed an investigation, tabled a report in the Parliament, and still referred the matter to another body for further review? As you would recall, in granting the request for judicial review, the presiding judge at the time said that she felt that Holness had a likelihood of success on that point as to what should happen to the investigation now that it has been closed. And again, that's the only reasonable conclusion that can be drawn from this idea that it is in fact sub judice and therefore they are barred from responding. We also wanted the chairman specifically to give the Jamaican people an indication as to how they should view this matter, right? Several millions of dollars would have been spent to investigate this matter. Not saying it's not an important matter. Obviously, it's important. But the Jamaican people are going to go to the polls soon. And the premier anti-corruption body cannot, by its own admission, give the Jamaican people confidence based on all the money they have spent. And 338 days taken to probe a matter cannot give the Jamaican people certainty and confidence. From where I sit, certainly, as a reporter who worked on it with my colleague Siobhan Campbell, that's unacceptable. It's also unacceptable that the Jamaican people will go into these elections not knowing what these international auditors found. I think the Integrity Commission must reflect. We're going to have to get a legal perspective as well as to whether Section 56, as the Commission says, bars it from releasing the document. Because, again, if the matter has been put to rest by sending a report to the Parliament, does the Act still continue to shroud it in secrecy? Again, this matter of this gag clause, Sections 53 and 56, operate as gag clauses, yeah? And the Integrity Commission is telling us this afternoon it cannot respond because of that. And it also cannot respond because the matter is before the court. I mean, obviously, the obvious other question is, why didn't you send the report in the first instance, the audit report, to the Parliament? Why didn't it form an appendix to the report that you tabled into the statutory declarations? So this afternoon, we tried here to get some answers for the Jamaican people. We're no clearer as to where we are with this matter. We're no clearer as to where the FID is with this matter. And again, the Jamaican people are being called to the polls. Reasonable people can conclude that the anti-corruption body, the premier anti-corruption body, has not effectively done its job to ensure that there can be some certainty. And we asked the Commission's chairman again, what should the Jamaican people make of that? Because billions of dollars have been budgeted, given to the Commission. If you read the annual report, you will see how much money they spend on a range of issues, entertainment, security, all of that. And if I dare say this might have been the most important matter that they have probed since they have come into operation. And this afternoon, 15 minutes to 6, the Jamaican people are still no clearer on the matter. I submit that that's unacceptable. We're up on the break. We're going to take the break and come back with more.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 5:46.
Burn Shack fried chicken always ready. Burn Shack original crispy. Burn Shack Cajun spicy. Burn Shack a barbecue. Burn Shack we are going Burn Shack.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay, and Ochivios is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius here in Kingston, 30 degrees also in Montego Bay.
Outperform, outlast. We top performance. Jackhammer. Reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. In 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5, and my co-host Sanjay Lewis will join me a little later in the broadcast. We're turning our attention now to some very, very good news, because Jamaica is among the countries ranked at the top of the pile of educational attainment among girls and young women. Now, that's according to the 2025 Global Gender Gap Report, and that was published by the World Economic Forum, WEF. Now, the WEF is a globally respected institution that benchmarks benchmarks national progress in 4 key areas. These are educational attainment, political empowerment, economic participation, along with opportunity, health, and survival. Here's a report from Dana Davy.
The Global Gender Gap Report is now in its 19th edition. It's a key international tool that tracks how countries are closing gender gaps between men and women in the areas of access and opportunity. In the 2025 report, Jamaica is ranked 38th out of 146 countries with a gender equality or gender parity score of 0.762. This compared to 37th in 2024 with a parity score of 0.758. In the breakout data, Jamaica led the rankings for educational attainment across the primary, secondary, and tertiary levels of the sector. The country made an almost unbelievable jump from 81st in 2024 to 1st in 2025. That's a movement of 80 places in 1 year. Meanwhile, there's been a notable improvement in the area of political empowerment. On that measure, the country moved up 10 places from 60 in 2024 to 50 in 2025. According to the report, women currently hold 37.5% of cabinet positions and 40% of seats in parliament. This places Jamaica 20th in the global ranking for female representation at the ministerial level. The country also ranks 21st in the world for women in technical and professional roles. For health and survival, Jamaica's ranking jumped from 93rd in 2024 to 49th in 2025. In the meantime, despite these advances, the report highlights areas where continued focus is needed, particularly in economic participation. Jamaica dropped in the rankings for economic participation and opportunity, moving from 8th in 2024 to 19th in 2025. Only 29.2% of Jamaican firms are majority owned by women, and gender-based wage disparities persist. Dana Davy for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Dana. Joining us now, gender specialist Carla Moore. Good afternoon, Ms. Moore.
Hi, good afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us. Let me first of all, not a problem. Let me first of all get your reaction. When I heard it this afternoon, I was very happy. How are you feeling about it?
I'm happy as well. I always love when we can move up the rankings. I think it shows that the work is working. And as somebody who has been working in gender for years, when you're working on something for a long time and nothing not change, it kind of hurts your feelings. Yeah. So I'm glad to see that the work is working.
Yeah. And I know people will hear it and think, okay, we're doing well. All is done. We can just relax now. No. But that's not the case, is it?
No, we're far from done. We are very much in the process. And I think the report that we had earlier kind of highlights it. There are areas where we're doing well, and there are absolutely areas where we're doing poorly and we're falling behind. I think there's a tendency when it comes on to gender, the fact that we're doing well in one area, we take it and we kind of brush it across everything and say it's solved. Yeah. I know one place that this happens is, for instance, the number of women who are at the university, right? So you know that at the undergraduate level, at the University of the West Indies, it's about 70% female and 30% male. Mm-hmm. When that number comes out, people say, oh, well, woman run Jamaica, everything is all right. The man, them are the victim. No. No, the fact that we're doing well in education doesn't mean everything nice overall.
Mm-hmm. But what about those who will say, but if women are attaining at such a high level in education, then conceivably they are being more empowered and they'll be fine in the future?
That's a really great question, statement, an interesting way of thinking. Women are doing well in education. In part, women are pushing towards education as a safeguard. Mm-hmm. A lot of women, their mothers said to them, make sure you get your education so no man can take advantage of you. And so they kind of stick to education as a way of protecting themselves. A lot of women know that whereas a man might be able to get a job with without a degree, a woman will most likely be asked for the degree because the job market, the requirements for women are higher than those for men. Even if it's not written anywhere on a paper, when women go out searching for jobs, they do recognize that they are asked to provide more. So the fact that women are doing so well in education is actually a response to the wider context where women are still facing significant barriers.
And the wider context, what are some of those areas where you'd want to see the society making more progress as it relates to women?
Some of the things that I'd like us to be thinking about is that balance between the workplace and the home. Okay. When we think about women in the workplace and why women aren't going further, why we only have 29% of firms being headed by women, even though women have moved into the world of work, the expectations of women at home have changed very little. So you're expected to go to work and still come home and pull the double shift, even if both you and your partner are working. This affects how women are able to progress. It affects their ability to work late. It affects their ability to work weekends. All of these things that count towards promotion. So if we don't have a fairer distribution of that domestic labor, women are still going to be stuck. Also, our workplaces need to be more accommodating of the realities of women's lives. When women go into an interview and somebody's going to say to them, well, if you have to work late or work weekends, who's going to take care of your child? Automatically, you know that a woman is at a disadvantage. Perhaps it's at the point where the workplaces need to consider, should there be childcare available at the workplace? Should we have a little stipend that we can give to somebody so they can pay for a babysitter to come in, so that the person who is responsible for the child and the person who is less responsible for the child both have an equal opportunity or a fair chance at getting the job or participating in these additional things that are going to count towards your promotion and move you up the ladder in the company.
Now, Carla, I'm no expert on gender issues, but when I hear you talk about those things, a lot of that sounds structural. And I almost wonder whether we won't have to uproot well-settled, whether it be misconceptions or preconceptions in society to achieve those kinds of outcomes.
We will have to do a lot of work that is uprooting some long-standing things that we also think of as tradition and some long-standing things that we also think of as culture. Yes. Some of the things that we look at and we say, I saw the thing set is, this is just the way it's always been. That's the way it's always been. It doesn't mean it's not harmful. Some of us carry biases against women. There are employers who don't want to employ women because I don't want to have to think about giving them maternity leave. I don't know what is going to happen when it's that time of the month. They might go want time off. They're moody, or women are not good at making hard decisions because they're too emotional. And all of these are biases that we carry. They're not grounded in anything, because when we look at our women leaders, we don't see these things being barriers to their performance. But yet, when women go for interviews, a lot of people who are interviewing them do have that mindset. So yes, there's a lot of unlearning that we have to do in order to create the conditions for women to meet their full potential and to contribute fully to the country's development.
And I'm sure you've encountered the men, the boys who say a lot of the gender conversation is centered and focused on women and the challenges women face. And I've heard them say, look, we're being squeezed out, essentially. We're being sidelined by conversations like this. As it relates to education, they tell you in the classroom, the teaching is focused or tooled towards how girls learn, and the boys are sort of being left behind. How do you respond to that kind of criticism?
I would respond to it by saying that two things can be true at once. I think the issue that we're having with how boys are performing in education and how the classroom is structured and how boys function inside of that structure, there's obviously something there that needs to be addressed to accommodate the way that boys learn in the classroom. However, the fact that boys might be doing poorly and men may be left out in certain situations doesn't mean that we're in a situation now where the gender, it has flipped, and now men are the gender that's marginalized.
So you don't accept that idea of male marginalization?
No, I don't accept the idea of male marginalization as a blanket statement. There absolutely are going to be... Society is complex.
Yes.
right? You can go into one community, and in that community, the boys are doing amazing and the girls are behind. And you go into another community, and it's the flip of it, right? So what we have to hold when we're having these conversations is your experience, which is true for you, my experience, which is true for me, and what the numbers show, right? Which is why a report like this is so important, because it shows us where the numbers are. The numbers clearly show that there are several areas where women are still lagging behind, so that there's work that needs to be done. Our numbers from our education system clearly show that in that space, boys are falling behind, and so they need support there. One of the things that we really need to talk about is how we socialize our boys and our girls differently, and how that affects how they perform in the classroom. We tell the little boy, say, must go outside, run up and down, find something to do. And we tell the girl that she must sit down inside and be quiet.
Yes.
And then we start them off like that. And then we put both of those children into the classroom and we say, learn. The girl has already been taught to sit down, be quiet, and focus on things that are probably tedious and that she might not be interested in. The boy has never been asked to do that. And now he's expected to do that. And yes, perhaps when he cannot do it, some teachers might find him difficult to manage in the classroom. And so he might start to feel, one, school is somewhere where they might try to lock me down. Because when me at home, I can't run up and down and do anything. When I come to school, I have to sit down and be quiet. And he might start to feel like this classroom is not for me. And I want to say this is, one, not all boys, right? And two, because we do have boys who are performing well in the system, it's not that all of them are being left behind. But yes, it is obviously a sign that there's a misalignment between how we're raising boys and the classroom that we're offering to boys. And a part of the gender work that we need to do is to bring that into alignment. Absolutely.
Yeah. Carla Moore, we're going to have you back, because this is a conversation I'm fascinated by, and I know a lot of our listeners are interested in. But for now, we celebrate this attainment, educational attainment for our girls. Carla Moore is a gender specialist. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Have a good one. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
That hour was brought to you by KFC, celebrating 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6:01.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. The Integrity Commission has refused to release the findings of a multi-million-dollar international audit, it commissioned into the financial affairs of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The anti-corruption body has also refused to confirm whether it has closed its investigations into Dr. Holness's statutory declarations. The Commission has claimed the matters are now sub judice, and the Integrity Commission Act bars it from responding. It was responding to a series of questions and an access to information request submitted by Nationwide News. President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, Metri Siaga, is welcoming news that Jamaica has been delisted as a high-risk jurisdiction for money laundering and financing terrorism by the EU. Jamaica had been on that list since October 2020.
The removal of Jamaica from the list of countries that are on the high-risk list for money laundering is a very positive move in the right direction for Jamaica and will bode well for investments of many different types in our country. So I congratulate the government on putting the things in place to make that happen, and look forward to us getting even more investments now based on what has happened.
The decision to remove Jamaica marks a key milestone as the country seeks to position itself as a stable and reliable partner in the global financial system. Mr. Siaga says prior to this updated list, foreign investors were hesitant to do business in Jamaica in certain sectors.
What it did was it created almost a black cloud over Jamaica. Many companies in specific industries like gaming industries and others that are highly regulated, banking, insurance, they look very closely at the way the international community views your country, and they use that as one of the indicators as to whether to invest in the country or not. Now that that's lifted, it will certainly free up more investment to come into our country.
Metri Siaga, president of the PSOJ. Meanwhile, economist Keenan Faulkner says the recent removal of Jamaica from the EU's list of high-risk countries as it relates to anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism signals a shift for investor confidence.
I think it's just a natural follow-on from the removal from the FATF list last year. So I think the EU Parliament would have been looking at that situation and recognizing that Jamaica has been engaging in many reforms, and it is now seen as relatively safer for investment relative to the period before it was taken off the list. So perception of risk really influences investment decisions globally. And when you are flagged by these international organizations for deficiencies in your AML, CFT network, your framework, then it does not inspire confidence. So just the mere act of removal from the grey list from FATF last year, from this high-risk list of countries this year, it acts as a signal to international investors that Jamaica, your money will be safer here.
Mr. Faulkner told Nationwide this morning that the new development will allow transaction processes to become less tedious.
In practical terms, it just really means that you can reevaluate business relationships, but it also means that your due diligence can be simplified or can be standardized. So typically there are 3 levels of due diligence. You have simplified due diligence, standard due diligence, and your enhanced due diligence. So we don't need to seriously apply enhanced due diligence to certain transactions. Like people are sending remittances, you don't need to provide certain kinds of information that will hold up the transaction, or it seems onerous to comply with certain requirements. So in practical terms, that has benefits for facilitating business activity, particularly across borders.
Keenan Faulkner, economist. Jamaica's shipping capacity is set to experience a major boost with the expansion of the Westland port at the Kingston Freeport Terminal in Kingston. The project aims to expand cargo capacity, reduce vessel wait times, attract larger vessels, and strengthen Jamaica's position as a key player in regional and global trade. Speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony on Thursday, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the expansion will be done in 2 phases.
The Westlands project will add essential acreage to KFTL, allowing for expanded cargo storage with new berth facilities and the introduction of a modern automated gate system for domestic cargo. The first phase, covering 15 hectares at a cost of US $80 million, will focus on strengthening soil conditions, eliminating ponding and flooding, upgrading security, and setting the stage for seamless high-volume operations. The second phase will follow without delay upon the completion of the first.
Dr. Holness, who's also the Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation, says investments in the Kingston Freeport Terminal have significantly improved the economy. He says the investments have led to the establishment of hundreds of job opportunities.
These investments have paid off. The KFTL's cargo volumes have grown by 58% since 2016. Berth moves and crane moves exceed global performance benchmarks. The company maintains a preventative maintenance compliance rate of over 97%. And importantly, the company's workforce has grown by more than 50%, creating 500 new high-quality, high-paying Jamaican jobs.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz is rubbishing claims the government could have bought 100 brand new coaster buses for the money he used to procure 110 used buses from the United States. In a statement on Wednesday, Minister Vaz said part of the PNP's attack on the rural school bus program involved the use of bloggers to raise doubt about the cost of the buses. Several bloggers have been posting documents purporting to show that the government could have bought brand new coaster buses for the $1.4 billion spent instead of the $110 to be procured under the program. But Minister Vaz says not only is the math wrong, but the premise of the calculation is also wrong.
$1.4 billion is the cost to buy these buses, pay inland freight, sea freight to get them to Jamaica, to retrofit them with the doors, refurbish them where needed, 1 year of spare parts, 1 year of a maintenance contract with the supplier to service the buses as was being done through the Department of Transport in the United States of America. It will also have the technology that is going to be required to make sure that the children are safe and that we can see them from the Ministry of Education and also the parents.
Darrell Vaz, Minister of Transport. Those are the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Sports is next.
We don't want to have a security force where people fear our police more than they fear gunmen. Every officer here, what they really want when they walk out in their community is that